Alright guys, in this video we'll do some introductory work on histograms, and if you remember well from, I don't know, pretty much a long time ago, you would have been probably drawing some things that look like histograms for a long time. So it's really a bar chart. Sometimes they can have uneven width like that, but it's generally a bar chart. And when you drew your bar chart, you would have your variable, whatever it is you were looking at the bottom here, and then you would have your frequency down there. But here we're going to be looking at frequency density along this line. So let's have a look at some data and draw a diagram. Actually, before we do that, let's define how we're going to find the frequency density. So this formula helps you to find your frequency density. I'll just rewrite it as FD, which represents the frequency density, and it's equal to the frequency divided by the class width. And I'll tell you what all that means on the next slide. But as you can see here, frequency is being divided up by the space given in the class width. It's just an average, because at the end of the day you don't really know how that population has been distributed along that frequency density, so for that frequency density, so you're just making an assumption that it's evenly distributed by using this formula. So here I have some data. Let's assume that over this length of time we were checking to see what the temperature is for I don't know how many days. So let's interpret this data. So let's just say that for 5 days the temperature was about 8 to 10 degrees. For 13 days the temperature was about 10 to 12 degrees, and so on. 18 days the temperature was about 12 to 15 degrees. So what we're going to do, these here are my class intervals, and I will find my class width by finding the difference between these here. So for example, for this first one, the class width would be 2, because all I need to do is find the difference between 8 and 10, or take it away if you want to look at it that way. The class width for the next one will be 2 as well. And then we have 3, and then we have 2, and then we have 3, and then we have 4. So just like that, all we're finding is the difference between these two numbers, or in other words, just subtract them. So we see that we've got that sorted over there, and those are my class width. So try and remember that's how you find the class width, okay? You find your difference between your class intervals, or in other words, just do this number, take away that number, and then you'll be sorted. Now the frequency density. Now on the slide before, I explained that the frequency density is equal to the frequency divided by the class width. So here is my frequency, and here is my class width. So I'm going to take the frequency and divide it by the class width. So I'll just do a quick little working out over here just to show you what I'm doing. So my frequency density is the frequency of 5 divided by the class width of 2, which gives me 2.5. So in here goes 2.5. Just one more calculation for the next one. The frequency density for the next one is equal to 13 divided by 2, which is 6.5. So you can see here, that's my 13 divided by the class width. 6.5 goes in there, so 6.5. Why don't you pause the video here and have a go at filling out the other 4 for me? So just pause it, have a go at filling out the other 4. Alright, so I've filled it out, and I hope that you were able to get these answers that I've got down here. Okay, brilliant. So now I'll transfer that information onto my next slide, and then we're going to draw the histogram. So I'm just going to transfer the information over here now. All right, so I've got all my information over here, and as you can see, I have put the temperature here just as it was given to me in the original question, and up here I have got my frequency density. All right, so let's label the axes then. So this is going to be where my temperature goes, temperature in degrees Celsius. I probably should have it the other way around, so let's sort that out. So temperature, degrees Celsius, and as you can see, my temperature goes from 8 all the way to 24. So I will count in regular steps on this axis. So because of the space I've got, I'll count in twos. So that's going to be 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. All right, that's brilliant. So we got all that to fit. And as we look here now on the frequency density axis, you're going to notice the biggest number here is going to be 6.5. So I can count in ones for this one, units of 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 there, 5, 6, and 7. I always like to go just that little bit extra up just to make sure everything fits. This is going to be my frequency density axis. So, couple of things to pay attention to then. In as much as counting in, as much as my class intervals are in twos here, notice I counted in regular steps all the way up to 24. Yeah, and notice here, I looked for my biggest number and I counted in regular steps all the way up to those numbers. Okay, so when you're doing yours, make sure that that's the way you do it. Now, let's get drawing then. So you can see the bar that goes from 8 to 10 has a height of 2.5. I'm not going to make this too neat because I just want to make the point and be done with it. So find your 2.5, and that goes from 8 to 10. What I'll do is, yes, I'll just draw it down. So that goes from 8 to 10. That's surprisingly quite neat. Okay, from 10 to 12, that goes to 6.5. So from 10 to 12, I find 6.5 all the way up here, draw that across, and then we can, well, I'll just pause this here and then try and make that as neat as possible. Okay, so that looks quite neat. So what I'm going to do then now is finish off drawing. If you want, you can pause the video here and finish off drawing your one. But you're going to see me actually draw now a bar 12 to 15 that goes to a height of 6, 15 to 17 that goes to a height of 2, and so on. Okay, here we go. So this should be the finished product. So have a look at yours and make sure that you're fine with that. A couple of things I want you to notice here. So for example, the one that goes from 12 to 15 that goes to a height of 6, notice I start at 12. 15 is exactly between 14 and 16. That goes all the way up to 6. So pay attention to things like that. 15 to 17, 15 is here, 17 is there, and it goes up to a height of 2, straight across there, and so on. So now you've got some uneven bars, and just like that, we are finished. This is just the first video on histograms, and all I wanted to focus on is you being able to draw a histogram, okay, or recognize one when you see one. Frequency density will be there. you plot your frequency density against your class intervals. Okay, and remember how to get the frequency density. Frequency density, just say it one more time, is the frequency divided by the class width. All right, I hope that was good enough for you. I hope that you're able to understand how to draw histograms from any bits of given data. Look out for my next video on histograms 2, where we'll use that now to fill in missing data.